Hello there, this is Nick Davis, and we're looking at White Dwarf 230 today. This is White Dwarf 230 US edition. Let's see if we bring up the camera so you can see, and that's right. It is the US edition of White Dwarf 230. This would be in UK money, February 1998 or March 1998, if we're basically doing US money. So, as I've always mentioned before, White Dwarfs in the US ran an entire 30 days after the original UK version. Also, the goes the same for games. Games were released a month later as well, mainly because shipping things over to the US and that type of thing. We will be returning to a UK White Dwarf and White Dwarf 231. I have seen it in my archive. I just didn't bring it upstairs to my drawing board so I can actually do a start the walkthrough for it. But I do own it. My memory serves is also the cover for the White Dwarf Battlefield Gothic release that features the first computer-generated and computer-coloured piece of artwork ever done at Games Workshop. Anyway, before we get started, we've got a couple of things we're going to run through here. First things first here is, have you checked out the Night Guardians? The Night Guardians is my fantasy adventure book featuring 1, 2, 3, 4 cuddly toys who protect you from the monsters under the bed. In this particular standalone story, they are basically off into the underbed to save a child from the evil Boogeyman. That's the Boogeyman just there. So if you've ever read a book like The Amulet Wings of Fire, are a fan of comedic and rather fun fantasy adventures, then this is the book for you. It is available on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. If you do not have a Barnes & Noble in your country, just go to Amazon, your Amazon in your country, and type in The Night Guardians Awakenings by Nick Davis, and you'll likely find my book available for distribution on there. So please support my comic book efforts by picking up The Night Guardians. I do dearly appreciate it. Moving quickly along here. This is Let's Hunt Monsters. Now, if you've been following me on social media, you know I have been shouting about Let's Hunt Monsters all for the last month of February. Yes, I know it's been a little bit annoying, but I just want to show you a print proof here. This is the copies that we get in to make sure everything's going in the right direction and then the print looks okay. It's a beautiful little book here, 32 pages. You can pick it up on my website. Sadly, distribution overseas outside the USA may be a bit more problematic because it's hard to get these things shipped out cheaply. But this book is available for sale on my website, so I will post a link in the description below if any of you are interested. Okay, now we've got the bit that pays the bills out of the way. Let's take a look at White Dwarf, eh? So this is White Dwarf 230. As I said before, this would be the February edition in UK money, but it would be March edition in US money. It is the Chaos Codex release. Yay! Also in this book here, we have, free inside, the Warhammer 40,000 Weapons Reference Card Sheet. There we go. And that, I think, is the cover for the Codex Chaos, right? I think it is. I think I was Wayne England number there. Anyway, let's turn the page and see what cuts loose. Get it centered on the camera so you can all see it properly. Maxwell in my comments has been telling me that basically she's seen more board than White Dwarf. I do apologise, Maxwell. I am actually filming this on my camera on my phone. It's from a very special, arm that basically extends over my drawing board, so I can actually film myself drawing stuff for basically updates from my comic books. Right, here we go again. So basically, this is the contents. We have the basically various departments again. Big department for 40k because we're going to be featuring the free Warhammer 40k weapons reference sheet here. Storm the Trenches battle report, which basically is Paul Sawyer's White Scars versus Graham's Chaos Marines. Bitter and Twisted talking about the 40k Codex for Chaos. Warhammer Fantasy Battle, we have Lumping Croops fighting Cocks. Oh dear, that's an unfortunate name. But I get the amusement factor. This is basically the next regiment renown are Dogs of War. Usual departments here as well. And this big release for this month's White Dwarf for Warhammer Fantasy Battles is the Skaven! The Skaven are coming! Okay, let's turn on the page and see what we cut loose. Now, one of the differences between the US and UK versions of White Dwarf is that basically the US version does not feature the White Dwarf staff. At this time, it was the editor and a guy called Goldby that did the majority of translating the UK product, White Dwarf, into US page sizes. Right now, they've just started doing editorials, which I thought was a good way to basically add a little bit more colour to the magazine. And basically, they're featuring on the new releases here, which are basically going to be the Skaven, Lumping Croops, Halflings, which actually are nice little Halfling models there, and the plastic Skaven regiments. Also, this is basically the release for Warhammer 40k Chaos Codex. So we have featured here basically some of the Chaos Marines. The Obliterators are down here. The Raptors, which I always found a little bit weird. beautiful demon models were coming out at this time. These are pure metal based. I'm sure they're much better now. Basically, the material is resin recasting, and obviously Fabius Bile, who is basically a big mean geneticist. And one very special thing of note I want to add here: we have the grotesques from Alan Moore. Alan Moore? No, not Alan Moore. Oh, I've forgotten it. It'll come to me when I get to the name. I do apologise. It's not Alan Moore. And the Scourge, the Scourge is released, and also big feature on the Necrons, which we'll come to when we come to. Finish off Black Library, and basically a coming soon to the Void of Space. Battlefleet Gothic is on the way, everybody. The spaceship battle game is almost here. Here we go. This month's feature on Warhammer Fantasy Battle is the Skaven. The Skaven are coming. The Skaven are coming. That's basically a cover from, I think that's from the, no, actually not, it's not from the actual Warhammer Armies book. It's actually another piece of artwork. But that's a nice little piece of artwork just there. First up, we start with basically Andy Chambers. Now, Andy Chambers, as we know, is a huge Skaven guy, Skaven fan. Basically, he did when actually put a Skaven riding a rat ogre and wrote rules for it. Also, I think he did the rat wheel as well. So basically, he is the big Skaven guy for Warhammer. He might be more trapped in the world than we actually thought, but he enjoyed it. Now, I'm going to slow my speech down a little bit too. So I've also been told that I'm speaking a little fast. So if I speed up again, hey, let me know in the comments, okay? This big release with the Skaven army book is also obviously the Skaven clan wrapped plastic regiment. These are beautiful little plastic toy soldiers here. Absolutely fantastic. Makes a beautiful little Skaven regiment as well. And since Skaven, you get a lot of them for your points, almost as much as you get for goblins, this is a great way to build out your army. And then we have a special feature here on the really big Screaming Bell by Paul Gale, who are of, Games Workshop Germany, I believe. Start off with basically collecting a Skaven army by, well, yeah, that's me. Wow. As I was mentioned before, I always basically try to build an army that I would not like to face with my Lizardmen. So I was basically fielding a Lizardman army at the time of Warhammer 5th edition. I think I've got that right. Again, down in the comments, you will correct me if I've got that completely wrong, which I probably have. And I always didn't like facing Skaven. They were tough to fight against with Lizardmen for some reason. My skinks never really stood a chance, really got slaughtered by them all the time, and my big Lizardmen just basically were not fast enough to really deal with basically their faster moving units, like basically the assassins and stuff like that. They were a tough army to play against. Also, with limitations for collecting a Skaven army, I was basically always told to basically focus this around the releases and plastic box sets, and I always try to give you guys a balanced army as I can within the limitations that I had. So basically, I talk about the Skaven and I give you an army roster of the Skaven army, and talking about themes of armies and how to make armies themed and useful to you. This is basically a clan rat army with basically the big old rat wheel there. We go through the breakdowns, talk about the Warlord, why it's important, why assassins bring extra strength to clan warrior regiments. These are very, very important if you're basically fighting up against a superior opponent. They really bring a level playing field back to the game. Never thought the Gutter Runners were actually that useful myself, but skirmishers are always usually a good idea to field your main line units anyway. And then we've got the Poison Ring Globaders for extra poisony stuff, and also of course the plastic clan map warrior box sets. Little feature on the side here, we may start going forward in White Dwarf, so you can start seeing little features like this. This was an idea we brought in to basically add a little colour to our articles. In this case, Rich Baker, who was an heavy metal painter at that time, broke down a quick and easy way of painting your clan map warriors in basically 1, 2, 3, 4 easy steps. Skaven slaves that always were a useful force to basically just get slaughtered. That's a very big unit of Skaven slaves. I might just use them as a big line in front of my line infantry myself. Clan Scourges teams were the artillery. The Doom Wheel or the Rat Wheel was basically a fantastic addition to the Skaven, giving them almost like a cavalry unit, which they never really had before. So that worked quite well. And we also have the Expanding Your Army with the Screaming Bells, and maybe even had the Vermin Lord. Again, these were based off the miniatures available in the actual heavy metal painting cabinet, so some of these choices weren't exactly what I'd actually put in a Skaven army myself. But the Doom Bell is really, really useful to basically jimmering up your Skaven, and who can basically resist having a demon in your army if you can have one. And we finish off the article with basically all the heavy metal Skaven army poured out of the cabinet and put into various situations and basically to show off the armies with the wonderful fun, and I still love the rat ogres. Even better if they had a handler on top of them, and the older rat miniatures. Skaven are an interesting army. They're very brown and browny, and they kind of like blend a lot together. But in terms of fighting, they're pretty okay actually. The gradual climate warrior is not worth a damn, but if you put them in a huge unit, they really do make a mess. Never been sold on the gutter runners, but I kind of get them for the skirmish value, but they are expensive skirmishers for what they have. But they can get rolling and get infiltrating on you. They can really do a lot of damage before even the main battle line hits you. Gareth Hampton's Skaven army. Gareth and Hampton has some features in White Dwarf. He is a regular at the Warhammer tournaments, and this is his beautifully painted Skaven army. Lots of light browns in here, as you can see. So that's actually lots of dry bushing going on in there. And he talks about his Skaven army and how he paints it and basically how he fields it. I love the colours on his units here. It's a nice, almost bilious green look to his Skaven wall. Let's see if I can bring it close to the camera so you can see it. Oh, this side again. Up, across, there we go. There's some beautiful colours on that Skaven wall. I really love the use of the green to contrast with the browns, and I think that really makes the army punch more, and he also keeps within that Skaven decaying type colour scheme, but gives a nice colour edge. And he follows that theme through with basically the bell and all his units in. He talks about tactics and how to use a Skaven, the usefulness can scout agents. I still not completely convinced on that, but it works for him. And basically, we finish off basically looking at his Skaven horde, and that is a beautiful, beautiful army. Look at that, just like that. It actually looks cleaner and more punchy than the heavy metal army, because basically that green really brings the army out, I think. Okay, now how to paint the Skaven clan the Hamilton method. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stages to the heavy metal 4 stages, but you do get a beautifully painted Skaven miniature at the end here. Let's bring it up to the camera again. I'm still going the wrong way because I've got to look at everything in reverse. You still get a very nice, quickly painted Skaven miniature there. Basically, it's a base colour, shading, highlight, and detail, and that's it. It's done. It's pretty much actually I draw a lot of my images in my comic books. Thump and Grind, the return of Mike Walker. Mike Walker has a few more Warhammer themed articles coming into White Dwarf. I loved his articles. They gave a feeling of the game which we couldn't ever really show in the articles that we wrote for White Dwarf. They brought that higher fun attitude and the feeling of basically how these games were played outside Games Workshop. There was a Games Workshop way of playing these games because we were kind of styled, kind of by, not always off the wall, but we always forget outside in the real world, outside the doors of Games Workshop, you guys are having so much more fun playing these toy soldiers than we are sometimes. Beautiful Warhammer 4th edition artwork. I still love this cartoony. I still believe that Warhammer would benefit going back to its slightly more kooky side, but that is just me. Great, 1, 2, 3. Well, it's Marcus Blacksback and his inventory writing style gives us hints, tips, and tactics on how to beat Skaven armies. Yeah, Skaven armies, bizarrely enough, they're low-value troops, but they can be real difficult to beat sometimes. Anyway, so basically, tips how to beat the Skaven, and basically done in his own intimidable and amusing style. And basically, we have some features, heavy metal features here. Basically, this is a throw-in, almost an advertorial type article. Basically, you know, the day in the life of a slave, and I'm surprised even a slave even gets that's longer than a day with the Skaven. Basically, talking about Skaven slaves, highlighting the Skaven models that are coming out at the time. The thing about Skaven slaves is these were metal models, so collecting the Skaven slave army was actually more expensive than actually collecting the Skaven clan warriors. So, I kind of, the low value troop but high cost to buy kind of basically made them not fielded that much, even though they're probably more useful in clan rats because you could throw them up in forward to slow down the enemy's formation and then bring your clan rats around into the flanks to start chewing away. See, I know how to use Skaven. Honest, I do. And we finish up with Discipline the Home Ad by Gareth Hampton. Gareth Hampton's featuring a lot in this this Warhammer. A lot of Warhammer articles in this White Dwarf because Skaven is his army, and why not? So he talks about using Crown of Command and basically stopping these guys Skaven from winning, because if you can get Skaven to break, they just run. He just talks about basically some extra tactics and how you can use a Skaven effectively. Listen to this guy, read this article if you're a Skaven player. He knows what he's saying. Don't look at my collecting a Skaven army, because I kind of know what I'm saying if I'm basically fighting against it, but not actually fighting with it. We end the article with another advertorial. This is for the Warhammer Monthly, Carnage, Chaos and Mayhem. This is the every action-packed issue of Warhammer Monthly. Did anybody ever pick up the comic book? I read a couple of issues myself, but that's because basically they came across my desk for free. So did anybody ever seen these out in the wild and pick them up and collect them? Let me know in the comments below. This is basically a story about Skaven. It's done by arts by Simon Davis, story by Simon Davis, no relation. I can't even read that, even with my high magnification glasses. I actually looked through this White Dwarf earlier and looked at this story for comic book telling value, and being the fact that I basically make comic books nowadays. The storytelling, and this is probably how the script worked out, and the grey tones makes the artworks look more muddy than it needs to be. The storytelling's not here, and it's actually confusing to basically follow the story. Secret of comic books is everything works in a Z formation. So basically, you should follow basically here, across to here, and across here in the storytelling. I think L panel should flow into next to basically show the story, with the white panel gap basically a moment of time definition between each panel. In this case, it's all disjointed. None of it really makes any sense, and it's a very muddy and poorly executed comic, I thought. It just jumps a lot. I don't think you know if this basically was actually even featured in the book, or it's just used for advertising purposes. There's bits and pieces I would have leaned more towards this silhouette and stuff, because the silhouette and stuff is wonderful. And I'm trying to get away from this detail. I don't even understand why we got overheads like that. It's like a close in. Oh my god, we're surrounded, but you could have done it with like an insert box here, blown this out more, and have the Skaven thing at the bottom there. But that's just how I would have written it. Anyway, I'm focused on this a lot more than I would any other article, because I guess I do comic books. Anyway. Let's look at Warhammer 40k Bitter and Twisted. We are basically looking at the Warhammer 40k Codex releases for Chaos. The Obliterators are their version of the... well, they're not Terminators, are they? So they're basically heavy weapon platforms, because they can be any weapon you want them to be. What a weird mutation they had. But they were extremely deadly. I think they had like a 2+ save with a 4+ after save. So they were tough to get rid of. The models, though, are a little bit disappointing, I thought. They could have been a lot more... big gunish, I guess. Anyway, so basically this is a look at some of the characters in the 40k Codex. Fabulous Bios, obviously there. Actually, that's actually a really nice miniature. His genetically enhanced Chaos Space Marines. Yeah, they just don't seem to work. I don't know why. Abaddon's basically, the question is basically how effective he actually really was as a Chaos leader. I mean, his goals were really just not there. I guess just basically being the abandoned love child of the Emperor and Horus will make you kind of bitter about everything. Aramim, nice little miniature again there. Raptors basically are just basically jump troops for more for any other reason. And Khan the Betrayer, which is a fantastic toy soldier. We once did a 40k tournament where basically he held the center table in a manufactorium for like 4 or 5 about half a day, because nobody could kill him. He's just so almost unkillable. Nice little miniature though. So there we go. So let's look at some of the 40k miniature releases, and we finished with the Chaos Space Marines release. Looking at the toy soldiers, looking at it now, there's a lot of black on this page. I wouldn't have made it this muddy myself. I probably even laid this out at the time, but this is the color palette. See, I'm deliberately slowing myself down here. So if you're down in the comment section and see me speeding up, let me know what timestamp that's happening. Anyhow, the Chaos 40k Codex was a very muddy palette as well. There's so much black on this page. I have no idea how we didn't just basically just saturate all the imagery with black. Now we go into the Chaos Space Marine Codex, black and brown. I think that's a beautiful image. I really like that, and I think it was a dark bloody red texture on the outside. I think that worked really well. Yeah, I've already talked about basically we probably overused the dark tones on this page. You should have put a pop of colour in here to make it really stand out. But it's the 40k Chaos Codex. These Codex books were like what, $8 to $10 a piece. In fact, this one's actually $15 because it's a little bit thicker. So so they were good value for money at that time, and you can basically get a lot out of them. So let's turn the page over. So what's next? Keeper's Secrets here. There's actually a nice little demon model, and there's basically the Bloodthirster and the Keeper's Secrets next to each other. And here we still have in this White Dwarf somehow the Warhammer 40k quick reference sheet, and this was really, really useful. If you knew the basic rules, just all you needed was this sheet to basically help you get over the hump. And it worked. You know, frequently used weapons, armor values, how to turn your vehicles, and all that fun stuff. Again, on the layout process, looking at it now, I would have made that white text and grey black, but that's just me. So yeah, it works as a nice little reference sheet, a great bonus to your White Dwarf as well. And I'm actually very surprised this copy still has one in there. Going back to the demons, of course they're using in Warhammer and in 40k. There's the Great Unclean one. That is a wonderfully gross and full of detail miniature to put together, and so easy to paint. It's just black, dry bush, dry bush, dry bush, dry bush, until you go through greens, all the shades of green, until you get to yellow, and it just comes out so beautifully. So much texture on it. And the Lord of Change here, which is another wonderful miniature, because I think the old Zinchi demons weren't quite as good, or Zinch, however you want to pronounce it. Big old Black Library adverts. You've already seen heard my opinions of Black Library adverts. These were like 30 to 40 megabytes, and the things we put in the book last because they ate file space. I know it's hard to imagine, but this is 1998, so we're still using portable drives, and we didn't have like an internet speed or bandwidth that we had now, so we had to be very careful how we basically use storage. Excuse me. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the UK winners for 1988 Golden Demon. I have to say my comments about this show was I was stuck in the studio section of the Golden Demon event. Basically, my back up against the wall with a Sharpie in the hand with people just throwing White Dwarfs at me to sign. It was a very interesting and weird experience. Didn't really get to see the toy soldiers on display, which was a bit of a shame. I'm thinking back now, we could have been more roving reporter-ish for White Dwarf than they actually were for that event. But, you know, hindsight is 2020. What can I say? These are beautiful toy soldiers, beautifully painted, beautifully rendered. I cannot imagine working this much detail into a 25 to 1 inch high toy soldier. I just can't. I guess, you know, I just don't have the patience for it. I just want to get my toy soldiers out there and gaming them. But these are art pieces, and there's no other way to call it apart from these are art. I would not game with these toy soldiers. These are beautiful. These are all beautiful. Look at those Warhammer single inches. And that's Zinch. Look at the amount of shading in those links. Good lord. That's amazing. Warhammer 40k single miniature was basically first place to a Hive Tyrant. I didn't see the miniature up close, and I'm pretty certain the photography does not do it any justice. Again, beautiful toy soldier. This just the amount of detail you guys, professional, or basically you. I can't even find the right word. Expert miniature painters, let's go with that, you can put into these toy soldiers. It's unbelievable. As I've always said before, I don't highly have the patience for it, but the amount of things you guys can do with the brushes, it's just mind-blowing. Great battle scene here. That's a fantastic Gorka Morka piece. Interesting vehicle there as well. Necromunda Gang or Mob. Pretty bland for what it could be, but again, you guys, people took the 3D palette and just made a work of art out of it. So that's really nice. Some of the Youngbloods here, oh my gosh, you know. I was painting my toy soldiers with homebrew paints back in the day because I didn't have Citadel paints available to me. And so it's just amazing. The talent on display here is fantastic. And if you look at some of the 40k epic stuff, I mean, you just paint these black with dry brush grey and use contrast paints and to basically push the colours on these now. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Games Workshop retail recruitment. No comment about that. Hobby centres is basically just some of the official Games Workshop stores around the country in Games Workshop in US. And then we had the Rogue Trader department, which basically was the unofficial official Games Workshop game store. Fantastic idea at the time. Ended badly because basically Games Workshop USA turned their back on them overnight and not giving them any notice. But but was a fantastic idea to basically get the Games Workshop hobby out there. The problem with the US is geography. We have a lot of geography over here, so the Games Workshop model basically slowly expanding through the country does not work here. So these Rogue Traders were a great idea. Again, the Rogue Trader program ended just poorly, but you know, Games Workshop sales did a lot of things poorly in that area. Games Test Drive is a Games Workshop US White Dwarf article talking about some of the game days games they basically test drived for the upcoming games that are going into here. And basically we are seeing photographs of the Games Workshop studio staff there, including a picture of the guy who fired me from White Dwarf by calling me incompetent. I'm not going to point to him, but he was the White Dwarf editor, and that was an interesting conversation that day. Now we're going to basically Battlefield Gothic. Yes, Battlefield Gothic, the spaceship combat game. I love this game. It was a lot of freaking fun. This is coming out next issue. We'll be covering it in White Dwarf 231 that has the computer-generated cover. I can't wait to talk about it. I enjoyed it. Rich Baker, I used to play against Rich Baker from Heavy Metal a lot, and he was almost unbeatable with his Chaos Fleet. So yeah, epic game of spaceship battles. Long time coming. Absolutely great game. Quick advertorial on the Blood Angels Honor Guard. I think I probably laid this one here. Here again, lots of black and dark blues. Oh my, yeah. Well, my design eyes changed a lot over the years, as you can tell. But these are nice little toy soldiers. And then basically, Chapter Proof talks about the Necrons. The Necrons are only ever meant to be like a spoiler force. If that makes any sense to anybody out there, if you had played Rogue Trader 40k back in the day, Rogue Trader 40k was not really about armies. It was about basically small forces, skirmish forces fighting each other for maybe like a third-party alien force being involved. Necrons were very much that type of third-party alien force that came in, had their own reasons, and came out again, or special scenario miniatures. Basically a mysterious third force which you could have fun with, a little bit like the Legion of the Damned. At this point, they weren't really suited for an army because they didn't really have the vehicles or machinery for it. But this chapter featured a basically mini Necron codex, so you could use your Necrons in battle games. Anything over 1,000 points would probably make them insanely unwieldy, but it was there to be used so you guys could collect your Necrons and basically take your games with them. Again, I still think these work as special scenario type aliens, but that's just me. I do know that basically the Necron army is fairly fearsome, and it's basically the undead army in space, but I just feel that basically there was some Rogue Traderness about these guys, and they were not used as such, really. Great little picture there, the Praetorians about to get massacred, but really, really massacred. They didn't need that many Necrons to take on those poor little Praetorians there, though. I do like the tent, that's really cool. Necron weapons, so basically the rules and how they work, and how basically you blow them up, and they can still basically repair themselves. That was really, really scary. And then we look at the Necrons as an army as such. Necron Lord, the elites, basically heavily armoured Necrons with big guns. The troops, obviously, these are the first Necrons out there, which again were just made for spoiler type fun stuff. Scout was the same way, and the weird fast attack Necron Destroyer Bath Chair. Really, anything over 1,000 points, and these guys are almost totally useless. Slow advances across the board are probably the nature of the game with these guys. Don't do any capture the flag or rapid assault with them. They may get there by the 6th turn, maybe. But they do look nice. I did like the Necron Lord is a specifically nice miniature. I do remember having one myself and painted. I think I painted a 500-point army for this, throwing as a special scenario side game. You can use a lot of the metallic blue, a lot of the metallic paints like the blues and the golds, and even the anthracis purples really worked really well on these guys. So yeah, that's basically it. You got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 troop types. Oh my gosh, yeah. Less of an army codex and more of a skirmish force. Necron attack is basically a special Necron scenario. Basically, you overwhelm an opponent, and you have a special selection miniature which you can use. Meat grind is probably what they're best at. And look, there is all the Necrons we painted. That's 1, 2, 2, 3 warrior squads, 4 bath chairs, immortals, and a lord. Fairly quick to paint now. Spraying backs and dry brush them, bolt gun metal, then basically silver for highlights. So yeah, they work. Some Q&A about basically how assault should work, which is good. Roller Schools by James Johnson's talking about Terminators and how to give them, they get an extra special rule depending on the god that they follow. They get me, for example, Khorne Berserker Terminators receive +1 to their strength. Plague Terminators will get +1 to their toughness, and so on and so forth. I don't think a Khorne Berserker Terminator squad really needs strength 5 myself, but hey, maybe an extra attack if they charge, that would probably make more sense to me. But there we go. Red Sun's Renown. Yay! It's the Lumping Croops fighting cocks. Yay, look at them. God bless those little halflings. Short bows, so they're not really good at basically being ranged combat. They're actually not too bad in handy fighty. Just a nice colourful regiment to add to your games. And that's basically the Lumping Croops Fighting Cocks history. For hire, Halfling Fighting Cocks, Expert Marksman, Trackers and Woodsman, Baggage Train Guarding is their speciality. Ask for Lumpkin at the sign of the Thatched Pig. No job is too small. See, this is what I enjoy. I enjoy these little things like that in Warhammer. Basically, it's a little pokey and little Monty Python. I know it's not. I know Warhammer 1.4K is so grimdark, but you got to have a little humour in there too. Or you're just gonna go crazy, I tell you. Alright then, Hack Slash and Drill is by Graham Davey. He's how he converted his Bloodthirster from the standard Bloodthirster pose to his Bloodthirster pose, which I think dropped the arm and made it more outy and changed with the axe. We really should have put what the Bloodthirster looks like out of the box picture in here before basically going into the conversion, so you can see a before and after. But Barry, as he called him, was basically his prime Bloodthirster, and he's a good model and a good painter and a fantastic editor too, because he put up with my English crap and turned it to something that was legible. So hey, go him. Okay, we turned into basically Dark Elder because we've still got some Dark Elder releases here. It's come to me now as Gary Morley. Oh, no, he's designed by Mark Bedford. These are Mark Bedford's grotesques. The Gary Morley did the Scourges. So Mark Bedford did the grotesques. Grotesques were basically very hard to kill. Good skirmish lines to put in front of your homunculi. He had the little poison spray gun. So yeah, there's a little article about the grotesques, a little bit of colour about grotesques and basically the miniatures. We were really high in this dark black, pinty, inky stuff. I mean, we must have burnt out so many kids' eyes when they tried to read this text. And then we have the mailbox. Not many of these left. I think we quietly shuffled away in the next couple of issues. This is basically US centric. Indiana and Maryland. I noticed when I looked through this earlier. I think the US mailbox was probably better than the UK mailbox. We still haven't mastered the fact that basically I'm putting this over a 2-page spread, but it was a good idea for fan interaction. I think in nowadays digital age, and I think the Warhammer Extended Universe, or however it's presented online, this would work much better now. Citadel Matrix complete catalogue. I did ask if anybody actually ever bought these, and I got told a couple of times in comments below that the people did. Go power to you. I know looking at Toy Soldiers is a wonderful thing, and actually wasn't a bad little catalogue either. Subscribe to Inferno. Actually, that was a good book. They should have made it more of a magazine-sized book and lumped the Warhammer Monthly comics into it as well, make it a complete fictional thing. But I guess we were trying to bait the American market with an anthology comic book at the American comic book size, because, you know, here in America, anthologies do really well. Newsflash, they don't. Anyhow, on to the battle report. It's Graham Davis Chaos versus Paul Sawyer's White Scar Marines, reported by Gav Thorpe. This is Paul's wonderfully painted, beautiful White Scar army. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. He is a miniature painter superb. One problem is it's White Scars, so everybody's fast attack, and we're about to do a bunker assault mission, which is something that White Scars might historically not be very good at. But it is a beautiful army and a great excuse to use a gamer's army in a battle report. I always say when I put my Warhammer my Imperial Guard army into a battle report against Dark Elder, we should show more gamer armies, and this is just another byproduct of that. Fantastic, fantastic. That's all I have to say. They have Graham Davies for Bill & Company. I was looking at the toy soldiers and trying to figure out if this actually was Graham's Chaos Army, because he had one, or the Heavy Metal Chaos Army. I'm thinking, looking at the blood letters over there, this is his Chaos Army, because it's actually well put together and well thought out. He had a thing for using the plague bearers. One for better, I can't remember their name. They're coming to me saying the Plague Marines. Thank you, the Plague Marines, because they're so tough to basically take down. His army was structured about a heavy grinding assault type deal, and if they're holding the hard ground in a bunker assault, we already know this game is a foregone conclusion, but we're going to go through the battle report anyway. Fantastic look at two wonderful armies and how they're put together, both 2,000 point armies. This is going to be a large Warhammer 40k game. And so it begins. Andy Sharman was the guy who basically made all the infographics that you see here and probably laid out the battle report. Did a wonderful job of all the positioning and trying to make it look sense. We are starting to use realistic maps here. Before this, they were basically drawn in Oldest Freehand, if anybody remembers that program. But now we're doing top-down shows of the actual gaming terrain that people are playing over. This adds an ideal authenticity to the actual battle report and makes them look a little bit more funky, honest truth. I kind of like this. Some fantastic in-game shot there. Actually, that's not an in-game shot. That's actually a shot after the fact done in the photography studio. Really nicely done though. I mean, basically, it's a wonderful, fun, fast-moving battle report. Until the White Scars get stuck into the bunkers and don't really have the type of troops that can take on a bunker assault. This is a purely meat grinder, pure troop-on-troop fight. If you were going to bunker assault, and I realise my words are running into themselves again here. If you go into a bunker assault, you really should take lots and lots of troops, because it's a grind, and that's basically all you can do. You're literally winkling those people out of that terrain, and it's really tough to do, even in abstract tabletop gaming rules. I just see just beautiful toy soldiers, and they just look really nice, don't they? They just do. And there you go. Basically, the White Scars are getting their asses beat now because they just don't have the troops to basically deal with a bunker assault. Bikes and land speeders are fantastic, fast moving over open terrain, and will completely bamboozle your enemy. But if they're just sitting still in hard cover, you're not going to winkle them out at all. Foregone conclusion really from the beginning that basically the Chaos beat the White Scars quite heavily. 2,213 victory points to almost only 1,200 points for the White Scars. They got their butts kicked, but at least the army looked good doing it, right? Anyhow, beautiful army. Gamer's army showed in a battle report, which is a fantastic thing to do. Graham and Paul are great guys. I'm pretty certain that was Graham's army, but if Graham turns up and says differently, I'm not going to contradict him. But it was good and it was fun. Then we go into Games Workshop mail order. This is the US edition, so I'm not going to focus on it too much. They did take the bits and pieces from the UK version and put the US prices on it. If you look at the prices on it, if you look at the pricing in the US and look at the Toy Soldiers prices now, you're probably thinking, wow, that's really, really cheap. But at the time, trust me, this still felt expensive. Space Marines and Dark Elder. Lumping Croops Fighting Cocks. I just like saying that word. Chaos Keeper of Secrets, Graded Demon of Slanesh. Looks fucking fantastic there. And the Necron Raiders in the old blue box style thing. I have no idea. Well, they're actually not very nice looking Toy Soldiers looking at them now. The plastic ones that the Necrons are now look so much better. So much better. Skaven Climax Regiment, fantastic way to build up your armies. I'm not sure if they do these box sets like this anymore, or these actual plastics still exist. I'm thinking they probably do, because plastics have a long lifespan. So you can probably still pick these models up here. And the overpriced Skaven Slaves. Overpriced, undervalued. Yeah, well, that's what it is. And basically White Dwarf subscriptions here, and also basically and the Troll magazine, which I've been told people have and collected, which is great to see. I never saw a Troll in the wild, but that's just me. We turn the page over here, mail order form, and something happened to my White Dwarf here. I have no idea what. Anyhow, it's just an Images catalogue, so we're not missing too much, I guess. But we did lose out on some basically imagery in the back here. I have to say this magazine is over 25 years old, so the fact that basically it's lasted this long and I actually even have it is a miracle in itself, and also a testament to my pack rat abilities. Anyway, there we go. That is White Dwarf, US 230. It'll be March US money, February UK money. Let me know your questions and comments and thoughts below in the comments below. I do basically read and reply to almost all the ones that are out there. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and share this video with anybody who's actually interested out there. I'll be returning for White Dwarf 231 probably a lot sooner than my normal once a week schedule. I'm going to be in an awesome con next weekend, so I'm going to need to push out a one of these reviews a lot quicker than that. Probably going to release it on a Thursday, I think, next week. Anyway, I do thank you for your time. You take care, and I will probably see you at a convention or around somewhere maybe. I'll just talk to you on the interwebs. Bye, bye, bye.